Hello friends, my name is Cybill Sixpence. Today we are building this Minecraft mess hall for Cybill Creek Camp, right here in the heart of our summer campground. Today I am using Mizuno 16 Craft, Better Dogs for my little Wednesday here, and Macaw's Lights and Lamps, which was a previous mod. All links are in the description. Here is the materials list. Pause here if you need to gather blocks and find a good space. Let's get started. Before we start building, I need to clear out enough space for this mess hall. This is going to be one of the larger buildings in Cybill Creek, so it needs room for the main structure. The front steps, the outdoor paths, the little landscaping around the edges. But I don't want to flatten the whole forest. For this summer camp theme, the trees are part of the atmosphere, so I'm removing the smaller trees and extra leaves that are in the way, doing a little bit of terraforming and cleaning up the ground just enough to make the build fit. I'm intentionally leaving these taller oak trees because that helps with the woodland camp feeling. The goal is not to erase the biome. The goal is to make the mess hall feel like it was built into the camp. You will need an overall space of a 19 by 23, but here is your floor plan. The front and back wall are 17 blocks wide. That includes these barrels on the side with a 7-block opening. And the two sides are going to be 21 blocks long, and that does include roof overhang with 5-block segments where we're going to actually put in some pillars. The pillars are going to also have a barrel foundation, so when you include the barrel foundation, the height of the pillars are going to be 6 blocks, but if you're just thinking about the pillars themselves and not the foundation, it's only going to be 5 blocks. I do have a tendency to build organically, so this section right here, as soon as I get around to the front, I'm going to realize that I wish I had made this flush. So right here is where I make that distinction. We're going to tear that down. We're going to bring it up by 1 block. It's going to be flush. So I did use polished andesite for the outside of the foundation. I am using stripped oak logs for my pillars. I'm using stripped spruce logs, which will pose as my load-bearing beams. I am using barrels as part of the decoration for the support beams, and you will see those down at the base of the pillars and on the 3rd block up. Starting in with the roof, I am using polished andesite stairs. There's not going to be a whole lot of fancy technique to this. It's simply stair under and then over all the way until I have a peak and just end with a slab. I guess the only uniqueness that would be is that I'm technically merging 3 of these long roofs into one giant roof. So the center roof being not only 1 block higher than the outer 2 roofs, but also significantly wider than the other 2. I did fill in some space with stripped oak, just kind of tying those warm tones that we can get from the woods on up into our roof. And from here, we're just basically filling in the roof with polished andesite stairs and polished andesite slabs. So I'm choosing to keep the roof fairly simple. The shape is doing all of the hard work here, and the details we'll add later will help it feel more like summer camp mess hall. On the underside of this roof, we're going to be filling it in with some oak stairs and oak trap doors. We will later use some sea lanterns to brighten this up, so that's why we're going to be using the trap doors directly on the stairs and not on the top part of the roof, so that we can open up that little flap, throw a little bit of lantern in there and close it back up. And we'll come around to lighting up the place later. But for now, we're going to be arching our little support beams with some stairs. And I've used 3 stairs per each corner, except for the front and back facing walls. I did a little bit of some differences here to give it a nice little slope, that archway. Next, I'm adding stripped spruce roof braces across the center. At the ends of the roof, I'm adding more spruce logs with oak stair details on the outside for a little decorative finish. Then I'm going to fill in the floor with spruce planks. I'm just going to fill all of that in. I like using spruce here because it keeps the floor warm, but simple enough that furniture and details can stand out later. Alright, so right here I'm just adding a 1 block popped out spruce log and underlining it with an upside down stairs just to give it that extra detail. This back wall right here, I'm filling it in with oak planks and then lining the mess hall with a fence. This is going to be like open air concept for my mess hall. On the front side, I'm swapping in upside down andesite stairs for details, and then I'm framing that entrance with andesite blocks, stairs, and slabs. Here I'm adding lights from the Macaw lights and lamps. Then I'm using stripped spruce logs for the center support beams to make the hall feel sturdy and finished. Next, I'm adding oak stairs along the inside edges for extra shape and detail. This helps break up the flat walls and give the mess hall more of that camp lodge feeling. After that, I'm adding oak trapdoors as trim. You can place these around the beams, windows, open wall sections, wherever your build feels like it needs some extra. These details are small, but they make a big difference. They help the structure feel more finished without changing the main shape of the build. It's also a great way to tuck away sea lanterns to add extra lighting. If you're building this in survival, adding lights to the back side of your build is going to be useful. I'm adding a walk path that leads up to the mess hall. This is actually not part of the build, but just to show you how I bring this into the rest of the camp. For this path, I am mixing in podzol, coarse dirt, rooted dirt, packed mud, and regular path blocks. I'm blending several of these blocks together because it makes the path look more neutral, like campers have actually been walking through this area. I'm also using podzol around the entrance as a garden bed. It looks like mulch to me. You can use whatever flowers you like here. I went with poppies, daisies, and dandelions to keep the front bright and simple. This little bit of landscaping helps the mess hall feel settled into the camp instead of looking like it was just dropped into the woods. Next, I'm adding bushes around the building using regular and flowering azalea leaves. I don't really have a rhyme or reason to this, I just place until it looks good. For the front fencing, I'm using mossy stone brick walls with acacia fences. I used a debug stick to connect mine cleanly, but if you don't have one, you can replace the walls with more acacia fencing, or just keep the walls separate and use them as little lamp posts instead. I'm adding this optional signpost with mossy stone brick wall, acacia fencing, and a hanging oak sign. This was in the materials list, but you can skip it if you want. I'll also link my signpost idea short on the screen. Over the entrance, I'm adding the main mess hall sign, then I'm adding some spruce buttons to the extended logs for a little extra texture. Above the signs, I'm using extinguished campfires as decoration roof detail. This gives the entrance more finished camp lodge look without changing the main shape of the build. And for the most part, what I put on the front, I did add to the back. A few hanging plants, some potted greenery can bring nature right into your build. And don't forget to light the way so that your players know how to get there. Never underestimate stepping back from your build to see if it feels finished. Sometimes it needs a few extra barrels, flowers, trapdoors, or buttons, and sometimes it's already done. And there we have it, a cozy Minecraft mess hall for Cybill Creek Camp. And of course, Wednesday is here with me too, thanks to the Better Dogs resource pack. That link is in the description if you want to bring your own dog into Minecraft. This build gives the campground a main place for the campers to gather, eat, and spend time together. You can decorate the inside however you like, or keep it simple and rustic for your own world. I think this one really helps the camp feel more complete, like campers actually have a place to meet after a long day outside. If you build this, I would love to know how you use it. You can also check out the playlist on screen for more summer camp builds from this series. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for building with me. Stay kind, stay creative. Bye-bye.